with me to discuss the war on women is a successful businesswoman and author of One of Everything, Donna Voss. Donna, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Now, you pride yourself on cutting through emotionalism to get to the real crux of the issues.
Yes.
What do you think of the war on women? Is that fact or is that emotion?
I think if your candidate is talking about a war on women, pass. Look at you. Is there a war? Are you not succeeding? I'm succeeding. I don't see the war. I really don't. Birth control and abortion, not real issues. Not real issues.
I think that Democrats do a disservice to women by speaking to us as if birth control is the only thing on our mind. We believe, as women, jobs are most important to us. Our families are most important. The economy is most important. Why do you think they bring up birth control as if that's the only thing that fills our mind?
I think birth control and abortion are brought up the same way a magician will distract you over here so you don't know what he's doing over there. Because abortion and birth control just whip us into this frothy frenzy, but they're not real issues. The candidate, the president, cannot impact abortion. Roe v. Wade is not going anywhere. It's done. Stick a fork in it. And even when we had conservative Republican presidents, it hasn't changed Roe v. Wade. So it doesn't matter who's in the White House. The only thing we're still debating is at what point in a pregnancy can we legally, ethically, morally terminate it. But the fact of abortion is a done deal. Next.
Yeah, I love your analogy about the magician. I think it is. It's a distraction technique.
It is.
They're trying to throw women, us a bone, and pretend like this is what we care about. So women get all up in arms, all emotional about it, and don't pay attention to how they're hurting us economically with their policies.
And don't you think it's insulting to cast us as these poor victims of big bad men who we can't pay for our own $9 birth control. You know, they have to do it for us, so we're victims.
Right. They don't expect us to take any responsibility for our own actions
and
want us to trade our freedom, our choices to the government. And it's like you said, it's insulting.
Right, it is.
I also think another issue that Democrats use to distract women is equal pay. So there's a lot of debate about this topic, a lot of debate. Hillary Clinton especially has made this one of her talking points to women, talking about trying to drive a wedge between women and men about equal pay. But at the same time, studies have shown that it's not related to gender, it's related to choice.
Correct.
It's the choices we as women, in general, not all of us, we in general make, whether it's prioritizing flexibility, prioritizing our families, whether it's the type of careers we choose. Yet Democrats continue to hammer that it's an issue of sexism, it's an issue of gender. What are your thoughts on this?
Gender pay gap, schmender pay gap. It makes me crazy. It's not a gender pay gap. Like you said, it's a choice pay gap. Women who make the same choices as men, stay in school as long, get as much training, work as many hours on the job, travel as often, they make the same money. In fact, in some fields, women in their early 30s actually make more than their male counterparts. But most women overwhelmingly want to balance work with family. So we tend to take part-time jobs that don't drain us as much so that when we get home, we have more energy for our kids. And I don't understand why a job that requires more education, more training, is more demanding, and requires travel, for instance, shouldn't be paid more than one that doesn't. For the simple-minded, maybe it should be, but
it's a supply and demand type of principle.
Exactly.
If the job is challenging, if it demands a lot, it's worth being compensated more. And it doesn't have to do with you're a man or a woman. Men just happen to choose jobs like that more often than women do. And it's not based in sexism, it's just based in gender preference.
If a man goes to work in a preschool, he gets the same money as all the women there.
Right, exactly. What issues do you think, particularly in this campaign cycle, what issues do you think women feel the strongest about? What's the most important to our gender as a whole?
I think there's 7 questions that we have to ask ourselves when we're evaluating a candidate, and I'll go through as many as you have time for, but the rest are on my website. So first of all, how do they feel about America? What do they think of American exceptionalism? Do they really believe that America is exceptional, or do they think that we're exceptional to ourselves the way the Greeks are exceptional to themselves and the Brazilians to themselves? You know, our founders were inspired to create an absolutely brilliant system of government that has made us the most powerful, most prosperous, most free country that has ever existed in humanity, that exists on the earth now. That's unique. That's exceptional.
It's special.
It's exceptional. Come on. And so we want a president who believes that and who wears it proudly.
Right. I totally agree. I totally agree. And I want to get to these questions that you have about how women can evaluate the candidates. There's so many candidates.
Right.
You know, there's still 14 left
Right.
in the GOP
Right.
primary. There's 3 on the Democratic side. That's a lot of people to evaluate. And it's nice to have a system to be able
Right.
to say, this is how I'm going to evaluate each one. This is how I'm going to make my logical versus emotional decision. Walk us through some of these other questions, how we should evaluate.
Okay, so next, after how do they feel about America, what about Constitution and the rule of law, right? The Constitution is also a brilliant document. You know, we're unique in seeing our rights as coming from God. They came from God, they can't be taken away by man, and our Constitution embodies that view by enshrining and protecting those rights. So, will the candidate, if elected, work within the constraints of the Constitution to change laws, or is it just a pen and a phone on a Tuesday afternoon?